What up, brothers? It's Clip King returning for a brand new review today on the figure you see in front of you. And as you can see, it's Captain America from Captain America Civil War by Hot Toys. And this figure only released Monday, so this review is pretty hot off the press. But I will say there's been a couple already on YouTube. One particularly good one I watched this morning on a channel called Keyboard Warriors. It's a friend of mine's channel from Facebook, Andrew. I watched that this morning, it's really good. So if you want to see some more comparisons with the other figures, the other Captain America figures, I suggest you check out that review. But I'm going to put my own spin on the review, like I normally do, and tell you my likes and dislikes and whether this figure is worth a pick up and worth £200 odd of your money. Before we get onto the scores, I'll just quickly give you a look at the pose. Pretty much straight out of the box, onto the diorama base, 1 foot up, 1 foot planted. Got him looking pretty nice, pretty natural. Quick thoughts on the film. I really enjoyed Civil War, more so than Winter Soldier, I will be honest. But not mainly because of Captain America. I don't like his bromance with Bucky, I'll be honest. It's a little bit sickening to me. I mainly enjoyed it for Spiderman and the Ant-Man / Giant Man scene. Spoilers there for you. And the story's all, like I say, I just don't feel the connection between Captain America and Bucky, which is probably what let Winter Soldier down for me, and that is how I see it in Civil War as well. Also, Black Panther in Civil War was really good also. So that is basically my thoughts. I'm not a massive fan of Captain America, like I've said before, although Hot Toys keep forcing them out and I keep picking them up, simply because it is a review you can put up and you know you're going to get quite good viewing figures. Having said all that, I will also follow up by saying I do still have the Age of Ultron Captain America, which I do quite like. I've always quite liked that one. I think it's a really good set. But by the end of this review, I should pretty much know which one I'll be keeping and which one I'll be getting rid of. But I'll stop bullshitting and start cracking on with the scores. Right, so let's make a start with the packaging. And as you can see, the first thing that strikes you when you open it is the fact that the artwork is really outstanding. From the really clean, crisp graphics up towards the artwork on the upper section of the front, the shot obviously of Captain America and Team Cap as a whole. I will show you the other characters shortly. It has got a really nice look about it. It's like stills from the movie, sort of put to a printed canvas, which it is textured, does feel nice, does look really nice. You can see the sort of grain effect as I move the camera light across it. One of the downsides was the exclusive sticker, which you can see is still pretty loose, would be easy to peel back off. Actually came out the shipper box and it was there, and you think, why did they put it straight over Captain America's face? If anything, put it on the spine of the box, maybe even the top, but it just does ruin the front for me a little bit how they placed it. As you move down, you've got this bone effect on the bottom half of the box, again textured if you listen. Really coarse, really nice work. Again, nice clean graphics in the blue font. So really good looking. The other characters on the box, as you can see, is Agent Sharon Carter. Then up here we see Falcon. As I move the box to the side, we see it looks more like Anthony with Ant-Man on the back. And as you see, the shield moves round, and we see Bucky or Winter Soldier's arm. It comes round, you've got Winter Soldier, you've got Scarlet Witch, and you've got Hawkeye, which are all the members of Team Cap. As you move down, you see the United we stand, divided we fall, and then all your warnings and your choke hazards on the back. I move to this side, again it just shows you the Agent Carter arm with the sort of electrified nunchucks, I think they are, and then the Cap shield there. It is just a slipcover box, but it is on really good card. Normally I would give the style of this box a 3 out of 5, but because the artwork is so outstanding, I am going to actually bump it up one and go to 4 out of 5. It really, really is an eye-catching piece. Moving on to the facial likeness, and as I scan up, you see I've slightly changed out the pose. Still going quite a natural museum style pose, but I really did that because I want to get around the head sculpt. I will show you the masked version first because this is the head that he comes wearing. Again, they've done really good work. It is the mask with the ears sticking out and then the strap down in front of the ear and round onto the chin. So again, very reminiscent of the one from Age of Ultron, and also the Strike version. I've not got the Strike version here, I've got the Age of Ultron, but I wanted to review this or do this video and not really compare it like for like. I will pick up on some of that in a future video, a comparison video. Again, I get a feeling when I see it that I've seen it all before. It's not different enough to any of the recent Captain America masks for me. It is a battling version, yet there is very little battle damage on the helmet, which is a sort of bone of contention for me. Although if you get in really closely, you will see there is some sort of mud splatter on his forehead. I hope you're picking that up. Please watch this in high def. You will pick up them details. You can see the sort of brown splatter marks, sort of weathering, or the, I don't know, the scratch work on the letter A. And then moving around, you see there is some more splatter marks up his forehead. Again, it's nothing too drastic. There's no out and out scrapes or scratches or dings or anything like that. So I know they try and keep it as movie accurate as possible, but I think because there is another version of this figure on its heels, it would have been nice to sort of far remove this one from that one, because with this being as clean as it is, although there is dirty parts on it, it is just going to be a like for like comparison when the other version comes out, and then you're going to see the strengths of one version compared to the weakness of the other. So I just wish they would have made a definite difference. So like I said, gone a little bit more battle damage, even if it wasn't movie accurate. Same with the face. The face does look awesome underneath, I will say. Probably the best Captain America I've seen, and that is mainly down to they seem to have slimmed the face down a little bit, and the paintwork is just a lot better than I've seen it before. Or not a lot better, but noticeably better. So I will pick up on that. The strap again always to me seems a little bit too caramel coloured and not quite brown leather coloured. That is the case again with this, although it's not a, that's like a personal nitpick. I'm not attacking the accuracy of the figure there. So like I said, when I look at it, I think I've seen it before. It just comes across as an helmet I've seen many times. But while I'm doing the lightness, I'm obviously going to go on to the clean version of the head, and that's where the main differences for me really start to tell. But I'm giving you a good look. The head sculpt, there's nothing I can really knock it down on. But like I said, I just get that feeling that we've seen it all before. So on to the clean head. Before we move in and start talking about it, again, just the same pose. I've turned the base slightly because the eyes dictate that you want to be looking at him from about there. Right, this is, for me at the moment, where a lot of your money goes, because my Age of Ultron version is wearing the Steve Rogers head at the moment, and there is a noticeable difference between this. The paintwork is a lot more striking, I'll be honest, and this sort of slimmed down. I don't want to go all up to bottom here and get my hands in shot, but this slimmed down under the cheekbones and then down, and his chin goes to more of a point. In fact, I might even bring the other version in to display this. It does look more accurate to me, and like I said, the paint is, well, the other one I would class as soft or standard definition. This one to me looks high def. Again, the eyes are nice and clean, although I will make a point that when I took it out of the box and the head were actually turned slightly that way, I looked at it, I thought, mine's cockeyed. It isn't, but you have got to be looking at it from that angle for the eyes to look right. Another awesome touch on this, the hair sculpt, as usual, is pretty perfect, but actually the hair colour, or the sort of transitions from the upper part of the hair into the fade on this one are pretty flawless. The kind of blonde through the upper part of the hair catches the light really nicely, and then where it goes shorter into the sort of fade sides, you see the darker look. Really nicely done, very natural, very, very clean. I'll move it around, trying to get good light and good shots for you. You see down, nice sculpt work, which you always expect, but the sort of fade down from the gold, as it starts to go shorter in, it's more tapered in. It has a darker appearance, and it is really noticeable in hand. Although the camera is doing okay, I hope you can pick up on what I'm saying. So this head sculpt, if I were to keep this version, I would nearly never take this head off, because I think this is outstanding, where the helmeted version is very much a muchness, seen it all before kind of thing, like the point I was trying to make. So on the likeness, mainly down to the strength of this one and the fact that they have sort of tightened up an already really good sculpt. Like I said, the paintwork is awesome, the sculpt work, they've like recognised the difference or slimmed him down, tried to get a little bit more accurate. The really chiselled look under the cheekbone and down into the jawline is outstanding. So for that, on this sculpt, I would give a very, very easy 5, but all in all, I would give the figure 5 out of 5 for facial likeness. Just a short little interlude before we move on. Like I said, I didn't really want to make a like-for-like comparison. I won't be going too much in detail, but I actually wanted to show you both together to try and emphasise where I said one looks like standard definition and one looks like HD. It's actually not as drastic as that, so I'm not going back on what I said, but there is definitely an improvement, and like I said, a slimming down process on this head. The eyes obviously look in a different direction, but both awesome heads, no two ways about it. But I just thought I'd treat you to a glimpse of them together before I do a comparison video, so it'd be more of the same. But yeah, both nice heads, both really nice figures. Right, moving on to his outfit. And as we move in, I'll show you the new pose I've gone to. Pretty much just jumping off the wall. I've gone to try and move his limbs as much as I can, because I want to test the suit, because it's always been the suit that's really affected the articulation on these Captain America figures. I've gone for the arms full spread, as you see, the knees bent, but holding the weight on his right leg. Got him still got a bit of a crunch through his abs. So let's talk outfit, and I'm going to talk about the functionality and the look of it, the aesthetics of the outfit. I'm also going to sort of pick up on things like the boots. Been there, seen it, done it kind of thing. They're very, very similar to the strike suit version. Now, I know that's because they are in the film, and what Hot Toys recreates is what the film shows. So you can't really fault them for doing it. But when you have seen all these Captain Americas, you do start feeling like, seen that bit, I've seen that, I've seen this done better before, this is better on this one, blah, blah, blah. And what you're basically getting is the same suit over and over again, done slightly different, with a different belt on one and different boots on another, a little bit more red on this one, a little bit more white on this one, and so on and so forth. The gloves slightly different, and they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep changing it slightly, because then they can release a whole new figure with that outfit on. So that is the feeling I get when I look at it. The shade of blue is somewhere between the Age of Ultron version and the strike suit version. So a little bit lighter than the strike suit, a little bit darker than the Age of Ultron, and that's the blue that we find somewhere in the middle. The cut and stitch is perfect, as you will know without me telling you. But if we look at, like I said, moving up from the boot, it is a nice soft plastic sort of shin section with a separate boot. So you can get good articulation because the foot has a full range of motion. Moving up, the trousers this time, in general, are a little bit looser than they've been before. So it allows for better articulation. The makeup of the knee pad is different to the last version. It does move around quite nicely. It is a bit softer than it were before, and again, the cut and stitch, the patchwork around it is really nicely done. This time there isn't the sort of rubberized section that comes down the quadricep there and down that leg, so again, you can bring that leg up a lot higher than you could on the last version. See the pouches on the pockets, the sort of updated version of the belt. I'm not going to say a brand new belt, because it's not that different to what it were before. Moving into the ab section, this time it's more a grey silver with red, and it's sort of, it's done slightly differently than it were done before. So you get the sort of the metal tab here, and then the section will go across, and it has a metal tab on this side, same down here. So it's like it's as if it's in 3 or 4 separate panels. So you've got a panel across the top, one through the middle, another one there, and then one lower that tucks down into the trousers. So when you crunch it, the suit does seem to ruck up a lot neater than it does on the Age of Ultron version. So that is a nice touch. Moving up, you have the sort of the plastic star on top of the outfit, and then the piping work around it. Again, it's nearly all made up of varying shades of blue. Moving up to his shoulders is the harness or the straps that go around his back, which hold the shield. Now, this time a slight difference that I've not seen before, and I've left this opened, is on the underside of the shoulder, it has this little press stud. Then you've got to find the hole in the suit, which as you can see is there, and then underneath is the female section to the stud, and you click that into that and it holds these in place. I will say that one's still in place. That one came out by accident and has been a bitch to get back in, but I will do it when I've finished doing the review. So that is it. Moving down the arms, as you can see, the arms spread and lift a lot higher than any other version, but again it's sort of a waistcoat section on top of a sleeve that comes from a underbody suit. But again, because it's not as bulky, the patchwork is done really well. They've lost the white section from around the elbow, and then it's sort of a completely separate forearm section within the sculpted bit here, going down to a lot shorter glove. Now this glove, I don't know, is just basically a Captain America glove, but because it's sort of a short cuffed glove, when you put it on, you find yourself constantly tucking the suit back into the glove. I mean, I swapped that hand to put the shield in, which were a bitch if I'm being honest, but I'll pick up on that later. And then you're constantly trying to get the suit back into the cuff of the glove. Like on the Ultron version, the glove comes halfway up the forearm and it holds the suit in really nicely. If I can move this round, I will do. Oh, of course I can fucking move it. It does have the Avengers stickers on the shoulders. Again, the nice, the plastic on the outside of the shoulders looks really nice. The Avengers sticker is accurate to certain parts of the film, but not others, as I understand it. So it's up to you. It would be easy to peel off and then sort of pick away the loose glue. On this one, I will leave it on because I've not decided if I'm going to keep this figure or sell it. So I don't want to fuck it up and peel it off if somebody wants to buy it wants them on. So I've left that. The back of the suit, which sort of comes over the head, is like one full solid piece, although it's stitched together like so, so you get flap after flap after flap. Again, if you were upright, that would tuck down into his trousers. The press studs work same on the belt as they have done before. There is also a press stud on the stud on there, so you could pop that open to take that off. But that is basically how the back looks. Now, one major letdown for me, again, is how the harness works. I don't like the fact that you've gone back to the clasp to put the shield on the back. I'll show you how it works later, but it's just a major pain in the arse. It's like they went from the magnetic shield that will go onto the Ultron arm and onto his back. They've showed us the technologies there, and then they've took it away from us on this version, which I don't like. It's a step backwards for me, and it's one of my major nitpicks with this figure. It really let it down for me. And that also comes down to trying to get that shield into his hand. He's a proper bastard. But just on the looks of the outfit, I do quite like the styling. It's not a million miles away from the Ultron version or the Strike Suit version. It's come together in quite a nice looking Captain America. So on the look of it, really nice. Now, going back to what I said about the helmet, it's a battling version, yet not really battle damage. There is certain places where you pick up on the sort of dust and the weathering effects, so on his knee pads, around here, sort of bit of kind of muck on his pocket, same down here, around here, the sort of weathered section on his chest around here, around here. But it's not an out and out battle damage suit. It's not overly. It's like they've dipped the toe in the water, realised the water was too hot and pulled it back out. They should have dipped the full foot in and thought, fuck it. It's a battle damage version, let's damage him up to fuck, which would then again take him further away from the version that's coming, because if you buy both, I probably will review the next one as well. I'm going to struggle, I think, to find any differences with it. Unless the other one is proper clean, then it's pretty much going to be the same figure and suit over and over again. The functionality of the suit is awesome. The look of the suit is really good, but there is a couple of niggling nitpicks, like I picked up on the length of the glove. the popping that strap back in there, the way the shield connects to the outfit. Another thing as well, and I will show it, when the shield's on his back, it looks shit compared to the other version to me. So I will mention that as well. But other than that, it's nice. And the fact that it lets the articulation work quite freely, I'm still going to give the outfit a 4 out of 5. Moving on to articulation. And I know I've partly covered it during the outfit, so I won't really take much time on it. I'll just tell you that the ankles are on ball joints and move freely because of the separate boot and shin. The knee is a double bend knee. The legs at the top are standard true type hips and ball joint movement, so there is good articulation there. Rotation, crunch through the torso, moving up, good range of motion in the shoulders, although the shoulders look good, they're nice and square like a Captain America should be, but it is again the place where the most suit sort of crunches up together and sort of hinders the articulation mostly. Elbows again do feel like the double bend, but again is slightly restricted by the suit. Very limited articulation in the wrist simply because it is a sculpted glove and cuff, so there is a limitation there. And also the head articulates at a lower neck ball joint, so again slight hindrance there. I would sooner have that on the neck, but all in all, for a Captain America, the suit, it does hinder it in places, but it's not as bad as I've seen it before. So I mean, as you can see, got a wide sort of an eye kick, fucking Van Damme-tastic, boom. Decent through the arms, but better through the legs. Again, it's one of them figures that you really would want to pose in a statuesque pose, and that also lends to the fact of how the base works as well. It's not really going to be a dynamic posed figure, but it is better than it's been before. So for that reason, I'm going to give the articulation a 4 out of a possible 5. Moving on to extras and accessories. Show you, I've got everything out on the shelf so we can talk through it. Obviously, the main accessory I would say is the Steve Rogers head sculpt. Obviously I've got it wearing it, and like I said earlier, I do prefer that head sculpt to the helmeted version on this one. The helmeted version is nice, like I said, but like I say, it's very, very similar to all the others we've seen before, so that is why I prefer the unhelmeted head. The other big accessory we get is the diorama base. Bearing in mind this is a special version, and I understand it's limited to 500 pieces. Somebody can correct me on that if it's wrong, that's just what I've heard. Now the base in and of itself is really nice. It is a reuse from the Hot Toys, I forgot what it's called, is it Kerberos Panzer Jaeger, something like that, but it was like a special edition figure that they did a couple of years back. Really nice looking figure with the Ed Harris sculpt. This was the base they used. I will say the base on that version was painted better than this one. This is all slate grey colours, so like a cobbled street with then the brickwork effect. Nah, the base is a nice addition, and like I say, if you find a pose you like with his feet in a certain position and you like it, stick with it. The reason I say that is because they've done what Hot Toys always do with these bases. They position the rocks or the loose rubble in a position where you're limited to how you can pose it. So it's nice, but it's also a fucking pain in the arse, in all honesty, because you've got to put his left foot there, and then his right foot has pretty much got to stand on this rock or somewhere out here. You could put it there if you want, but there's only really one natural pose, and that is the natural pose that I started with. Other than that, I haven't seen one yet. Moving up the base, you see the transparent pole with the crutch cradle. That is quite nice, again, because you don't really see it when he's stood on it. The wall with a bullet hole effect is really nice. But like I said, I just wish that they would give you a flat base, the flat base with like cutaways so you can position these if you'd like. I mean, you could probably get them off, in all honesty, but I don't know, it's like they're telling you where you should be posing your figure, and you do have to go along with it because it makes him look very awkward as well. And in certain positions his feet are put and the shin section don't fall down onto his foot correctly, so it makes him look very awkward. So the base itself is nice, but I don't know, the fact it's a reuse, and also because they're dictating to you where you pose it, it just leaves a bitter taste for me. Moving down to the crossbones helmet. Again, nice inclusion, although there's not a great deal you can do with it other than let him hold it and look at it or whatever. I don't think you would be able to fit an head into it because it's smaller than it seems, and also it doesn't open. But I will say the paintwork is really nice, so I think your best bet is to, once you've got him stuck, is to chuck it on floor. Sorry about that, even pros fuck up. Best thing you can do is plant his feet where you want him and then just put the helmet somewhere to enhance your display. I think that would be the best thing to do with it. Moving down, get a set of wrist pegs as we always do, and then on the figure I'll just show he's got a right shield holding hand and then the sort of throwing left hand. He's got an open right hand, a pointing right hand, and a fisted right, a fisted left, and the shield holding left. This monstrosity is what holds the shield to the back. I'm going to show that in a minute, and I don't like it. I'll tell you now, it's a pain in fucking arse. So there is that. The shield, again, in and of itself, is really nicely done. It is weathered, as you can see. See the spackled effect? Looks like there's been explosions going off around him. You've got the Black Panther scratch marks. It is a darker colour than the last version, so it does fit in theme with the darker colour on the outfit. But then we turn it round and we're back to the fucking bad old days, where you've got to put these straps through his hands and then his arm down through it. And I will say, this is where they fucked up for me, because, like I said, I've seen the Age of Ultron, I've got it, the magnetised shield and the magnetised on the back. It's just a lot better. It's like I'm showing you that they can give you a 10-piece bucket of KFC, but then taking its skin off and eating it in front of you, and then peeling chicken off and giving you a bucket of bones. That's what they're getting with this. We're back to fucking grey old days, and it's just shit, really. Another thing as well is, you're actually supposed to pop that out and that out. I hope I can do it left-handed. Yep. Pop them out. They do come out pretty easy, I'll be honest. And then what you do is, you put this section into there, like so. Same on the other side, like this is pretty hard because I'm not ambidextrous. Like so, and then it gives you an effect like that. Now I'll put it on the back of the figure and show you how it looks. In my opinion, shite. It sits far too far off the body. Like I say, I don't like the fact that you've got to mess about, even when you want him holding the shield, you've got to mess about putting that part of the strap into that, clasping that in place, the other side of the strap, unclasping that, wrapping it around his arm, putting that in place because his arm won't drop through it, and it's just a right pain in the arse. And like I said, when they've already passed this section, this process on and gone to a better version, I just don't understand it. It's just a right royal pain in the arse, and it fucking rankles with me, if I'm honest. The booklet, the tool for tucking his gloves in, tucking his sleeves into his gloves, it's handy for that, and also pulling the collar out when you're swapping the heads, it does come in handy for that. Other than that, that is it, basically. Not a lot of hands, although you do have some spare ones, and I can't really think of anything else you would want. Just turn the figure around. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else you want. Maybe a standard generic base in case you don't want to use that and you want to display it with the others. Could have got that. Another thing that pisses me off is the fact that with shoulders, in fact they showed us before they showed us this one, the actual Civil War version of Captain America comes with interchangeable mouth plates that fit with this helmet. One where his teeth are sort of gritted and one that is like this, and you can swap it about, and I think they're already making that, so why they rush this version out and don't even give us that? Like I say, it's basically a trade-off. Do you want this slightly weathered version with this stand, or do you want the cleaner version with the interchangeable faceplates? For me, it's pretty much a no-brainer. I would sooner have the one that's coming up over this one. This one, in all honesty, for me, and some of you might agree, some of you might not, this one for me is still a slight step back from the Age of Ultron version. And what I mean by that is, the Age of Ultron version, it does have a diorama style stand. It does have the clean head sculpt and a masked head sculpt, and then a separate mask which you can have him holding. It does have the magnetised shield. Again, the outfit that you choose is pretty much of your choice. I actually prefer the more white and the brighter red than this colour, in all honesty. The only place where the Age of Ultron doesn't touch this one is on that head sculpt. Now, this figure, as you know, if you're checking eBay, goes for big bucks because it's a movie promo and it's limited. There's not going to be a lot of people having this. Now, in all honesty, if I were to put either one of these up for sale today, I would sell this one, simply because I prefer the Age of Ultron suit, and this head sculpt is not that much better than the Age of Ultron head. So that is where I would stand. I prefer this. But the point being is, because this value, or this costs so much and I had to pay that much to get it, I've got to sell it at an high price to make my money back. And then you come across a scalper because you're selling it like the eBay prices, and you think, but I've got to, because I can't get away. I can't keep helping everybody out to buy their figures. I can't keep knocking £20 off here, teners off here. So I've got to sell it at what I paid plus shipping, which takes the price up. And I think it's really not worth it. In all honesty, I would say if you haven't got the Age of Ultron and you want a cap, wait for the next one, because this one would be easy to pass by. And that is being honest with you. I could easily say to you, oh, it's fucking amazing, go and buy it, blah, blah, blah. You can get it at bigbadtoystore.com, fucking this place and that place, or even give you an address for an Hong Kong seller. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's really not worth the price. And I know in about 2 days I'm going to look like an hypocritical cunt, because mine will be on eBay selling. And you're going to say, Rick, you said it weren't worth that price. And I'm going to say, yeah. But the fact of the matter is, I've got to make back the price that I fucking paid for it. So that explains that. Onto the value, it's well overpriced for what it's got, but the value will hold. I know that for sure, because I've seen the other Captain America movie promos and the Iron Man movie promos, and they always go up in value, so bear that in mind. For that reason, I've given the value a 3 out of 5. The extras, to come back to what I started off saying, because of the base gets 1 point, the spare head gets 1 point, the hands get 1 point, and the shield get 1 point. Although it doesn't look like much, I've still given the extras a 4 out of 5. That gives the figure a total of 24 out of a possible 30, which is a reasonable score. But like I said, in my opinion, you can pretty much pick any of the last 3 Captain Americas. This, the strike suit version with a spare Steve Rogers, or the Age of Ultron version, or the safest money in my opinion is wait for the next one that'll be just around the corner. So another review done. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please leave your thoughts, your comments. Please like it, subscribe if you haven't already. Share it around because it does help me. Much appreciated, boys who stick with me loyally. But for now, this is Clipper King and I'm out of here.